One of the questions that I get asked a lot is about balancing the quality and quantity of content production. And it's one of those things that a lot of clients get really confused by, and they just get wrapped up in, whatever the social media gurus are saying online and whatnot. The most important thing is that you've got to find a balance between getting really good quality content and getting a quantity of content. It's crucial to maintain the engagement and build a loyal brand following. And in order to do that, there's some strategies that you can put in place that will help make that happen better. So the first thing you need to do is define your goals. What is it that you're trying to achieve with your content? Is it brand awareness? Is it lead generation? Is it customer acquisition? Or is it just engagement with people? Because those goals are going to really inform exactly what it is that you're doing and how that you're doing it. You also want to make sure that you really know the audience. So your audience might change on each platform. So for example, on Instagram, you might have a younger audience, you might have an older audience on Facebook, but you might have a more business orientated audience on LinkedIn. For some people, those audiences kind of stay the same, they're a wee bit similar. For other people, they're vastly different because of the way that they create content and because they've used those platforms to, I suppose, attract a specific type of customer base. So it's really important to understand who you're speaking to on each platform, and that's where understanding your analytics and looking at your feedback and just really getting to grips with the numbers and the data. You want to have a content calendar. Now, I cannot batter on enough about a content calendar. It's absolutely, this is coming from somebody who, in my business, I don't actually always have a content calendar. I'm so busy doing it for other people. I'm so busy managing my team. Sometimes we forget to paint our own house. We're like the painter and decorator that doesn't paint their own living room. And so it's really important to get that information down in a plan on a piece of paper. I don't care if you're writing it, in hieroglyphics on your back wall. It doesn't matter as long as you've got a plan of action right in front of you. And by knowing what you want to do in advance is going to help you create quality content. It's going to help you think about what it is that you're going to do. But not just that, when you've created that content calendar, and it could be only a calendar of ideas at the beginning, when you're on the shop floor, when you're out and about with clients, when you are restocking or packaging or making or doing whatever it is that you do, you might find moments that you go, if I take a picture of that, that's going to fit with that piece of content. That's going to fit with that plan. Rather than doing it the other way around, where you are constantly chasing your tail going, oh, I need something on this and I need to meet the team and somebody get a picture of Jenny, the staff member, or whatever that thing might be. So try to get some sort of plan in place. I also think it's really important to focus on evergreen content. Evergreen content is the kind of content that you can recycle over and over again. You can use in different ways. And, it's timeless. It'll be relevant tomorrow. It'll be relevant next year. Don't get me wrong, it is important to have agile, time-sensitive content that fits the brand. But think about what you can create that you can go back to a year later and say, do you know what? I'm going to restructure that and use it again. Because what you're going to find is that you're making life easier for yourself along the way. You also want to leverage different formats of content. So I have this conversation a lot with people. So people go, I want to do video. I need to be on TikTok. Let's do this. And I say to them, is that the only kind of content that you want to do? What about text? What about graphic? What about moving image? What about video? What about polls and quizzes and interactive and competitions and all of that kind of stuff? Social platforms like you to use all of their functions. They love it when you get involved with, using the events tab and the notes and all of those kinds of things that they have, and the emojis and all that kind of stuff. So think about trying to create content in different formats, in different ways, which will engage different people. I'm not great for video. I love video on TikTok. I will watch TikTok all day long, but I very rarely consume video on other platforms. On LinkedIn, I love reading. I love reading content. I love reading blogs, and I love reading, expert analysis, and I love, just seeing all of that stuff. On Instagram, I literally just scroll and see what interests me visually, and then I click into it. So you have to think about what are your customers saying and doing, and how are they behaving? One of the things we want to do is prioritize that high impact content. So that's the kind of content that has the highest engagement or the highest impact with your audience. And you want to focus on that. If you find something that works, you want to keep doing it until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, figure out why. So it's best to produce less content but have that high value stuff than to overwhelm your audience with just content for the sake of content. But also, one of the things that I would say is don't do that at the expense of infrastructure content. What I call infrastructure content is that stuff that you can sit down on a Sunday afternoon and schedule for the rest of the month or schedule for the rest of the year, whatever that. So that could be like our opening hours. It could be we've got a sale on, don't forget to call by the shop, we've a competition or whatever those things might be. They're infrastructure content, the stuff that your audience needs or wants to hear. You want to streamline your production as well. So you want to streamline the tools, the software, all of that thing. If you're finding that something is taking way too long to do and you're not getting enough of a response to it, then you've got to figure out, is it a case of scrapping it all together, or is it a case of looking at the production schedule or looking at how you're creating it and seeing if that can be streamlined? And in some cases that can be streamlined by just getting somebody else to do it, because they're cheaper. Because by the time you've figured it out 2 days later, they've done it in an hour and a half. So think about things like that as well. And you want to set yourself very realistic goals. So what I see a lot of the time with clients, especially in small businesses, is that they go, I want to go viral and I want to do this, and this company here got that. And they have completely unrealistic expectations of how much it's going to cost to get them to that place. So you want to have those realistic goals that fit your expectations, that fit your resources, that fit the finance available, even the capabilities of the team that are available. And you want some really good quality control processes. You want to make sure that you've got really good quality control throughout, that somebody is checking things, or that the person who's creating it knows exactly what they can and can't do. And lastly, we always want to monitor, we want to adjust things. We want to make sure that if it's not working, we figure out why. And if we can't figure out why, we test it. And, you can A/B test things. You can come back to them. You can ask other people, get other people's opinion as well. It is important to create and maintain a steady flow of content, but quality should not be ever, sacrificed for quantity. High quality content is more likely to engage your audience and build trust and establish your brand as an authority in the field, but also people will want to watch it or they'll want to engage with it. So it's kind of like there is a balance, and for every business it's different. So for some businesses, they might have 3 to 5 infrastructure posts going out every single week, and then they might have a few stories and a few reels and a few exciting things. And some people go 1 post a week, 1 reel a week, and that's all that they can do. It's about figuring out your capabilities, your resources, your finance, and then figuring out what can you balance that with, and what is it that you're looking out of it. So good luck with that. If you want a little bit more help around creating a content strategy for 2024, we do have our annual social media content creation strategy and planning session. It's coming up at the beginning of January. So please do jump on that if you can. Details will all be below.